2 parishes declared disaster zones in Grenada. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Thursday, August 2nd. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. The National Emergency Advisory Council, NEAC, on Thursday declared the capital, St. George's and St. David's disaster zone areas following flooding on Wednesday. Minister responsible for National Disaster Management, Senator Winston Garraway, said a preliminary assessment from 15 districts showed that both parishes were significantly affected by the rains, with residential and public properties flooded. There were also landslides and debris blocked roads. A tropical wave interacting with the Intertropical Convergence Zone caused heavy rains and thunder showers across the island for more than 7 hours. Garraway added that the preliminary impact assessment in St. George's was yet to be finalized, but observations so far showed that communities in the St. George's Southeast constituency suffered significantly. A news briefing following an emergency meeting of NEAC, Garraway said that declaring the 2 parishes disaster zones would trigger the state to provide the necessary financial and other resources to return the areas to normalcy. A number of businesses, especially in the Grand Dance, Montrouge, Queen's Park and River Road areas in the parish of St. George's, were flooded as heavy rains transformed roads into rivers. The island's National Stadium was inundated when the nearby St. John's River burst its banks. There were also several reports of landslides, flooded homes and roadways, and land slippage. Barbados' economy contracted by 0.6% for the first half of this year. This despite increase in tourist arrivals by an estimated 3.4%. Governor of the Central Bank of Barbados, Cleveson Haynes, in presenting the economic review for the first half of the year, said the increase was not enough to offset the weakening in the length of stay on real tourism output. The economy also suffered from a weakening in construction activity, which fell by 4%. Average unemployment increased by 0.3% from 9.7% in 2017 to 10% this year. There was a slight increase in domestic inflation from 4.5% last year to 4.9% this year. However, there was good news in external sector with the $33 million increase in the international reserves. This is the first increase for the comparable period since 2008.
The central bank received an increase in net purchases of foreign exchange from commercial banks, but the overall outturn partly reflected lower outflows on debt service, approximately $99 million in June, following government's decision to suspend external debt payments. The pool of reserves at 7.2 weeks of import cover remained below the 12-week adequacy benchmark.
As the country prepares to embark on a major fiscal consolidation and structural reform program, Governor Haynes is optimistic that it will permit a gradual restoration of the international reserves buffer in excess of the 12-week benchmark, thereby restoring confidence and creating an environment that encourages domestic and foreign investment.
The program provides an opportunity for a sustained improvement in the public finances. Government has already committed to realizing a primary surplus of 6% of GDP from fiscal year 2019 to 2020, as the measures announced in the May 2018 budget take effect on a full-year basis. In addition, these measures are expected to be supported by expenditure reforms that seek to reduce the transfers to state-owned enterprises, strengthen the fiscal consolidation process over the next 18 to 24 months, and reduce domestic financing pressure.
According to the governor, the Barbados economy remains vulnerable to external oil price shocks and no significant improvement in growth for 2018 is anticipated. The forecast is for a decline in economic activity of 0.5%. The Antigua and Barbuda citizenship by investment scandal involving Indian billionaire Mehul Choksi. The government has confirmed that it has bilateral extradition arrangements with India. Foreign Affairs Minister Chet Green said India has indicated that a formal extradition request will shortly be sent. Choksi is an Indian billionaire who became a citizen of Antigua and Barbuda through the Citizenship by Investment program. But months after obtaining citizenship, fraud allegations began swirling around him. We get more in this ABS News report.
Confirmation of the extradition arrangements between Antigua and Barbuda and India came Tuesday morning.
We now can confirm that there is, in fact, a bilateral extradition arrangement as borne out in Statutory Instrument number 34 of 2001, signed by the then Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sir Lester Byrd. And so Mr. Chusky, yes, is subject to extradition.
This information came following a high-level meeting on Monday with the Indian High Commissioner to Antigua and Barbuda, Venkatachalam Mahalingam. Minister Green said he would be seeking to have audience with the Indian diplomat again on Tuesday. High Commissioner Mahalingam had indicated that a formal request would be coming for Mr. Choksi in short order. Minister Green says the realization that there is in fact a bilateral treaty with the Asian nation is a major new dynamic in the mix.
The fact that we have bilateral agreements with India now places this whole development in a new and different frame. The legalese, of course, will, I'm sure, take place, but the government of Antigua and Barbuda will, as a responsible sovereign government, respond to any requests. And let me be very clear to state that as of now, as I speak to the nation on this matter via ABS, we have not received a formal request from India for extradition. In the meeting with the Prime Minister yesterday, the High Commissioner indicated that we will, in a matter of days, receive from India a formal request for the extradition of Mr. Chusky, including a copy of the charges against him.
Extradition requests are channeled through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They are often fraught with controversy and legal contortions, but Minister Green explains what the government's approach will be.
From where I sit as Minister of Foreign Affairs and from where the government is involved, as I said, upon receipt of the charges and the request formally from India, I will pass those on to the Cabinet and to the Attorney General for advice and guidance. And once I'm guided by the Attorney General, then I'll sign the request.
Meanwhile, Minister Green indicated what the Indian government has indicated to Antigua and Barbuda relating to Mr. Choksi.
Yes, there were some actions asked that we should detain him, ensure he doesn't leave the state. But again, there's process. These are process. As a citizen of Antigua and Barbuda, he is governed by the Constitution and all the rights of protection by the Constitution of this country. A receipt of a formal request from India changes the discussion. But as of now, in the absence of any of these things, we don't know what the charges are. We are seeing things in the media. We are hearing things all over.
Still in Antigua and Barbuda, a three-member team from CARICOM's Implementing Agency for Crime and Security Impacts is to investigate allegations against suspended Commissioner of Police Wendell Robinson. The police administration says the members of the team have been duly appointed and sworn in as special constables and will conduct their investigations in the coming weeks. Robinson was suspended in early April, weeks after news of his alleged sexual advances towards male subordinates. While he's being investigated, Robinson is simultaneously challenging his suspension through an application for judicial review in the High Court. His case was adjourned from July 20th to October 5th due to the absence of his lawyer, who reported sick. When the team's investigations are completed, a report will be submitted to the Police Service Commission. A police statement did not say whether the report or findings would be made available to the public or who invited the investigating team. In more news in the Twin Island nation, the High Court has granted a temporary injunction ceasing construction work on the airport in Barbuda. 2 residents of the sister isle have been granted leave to apply for the judicial review of the government's decision to start the construction. They are claiming there were breaches to the Physical Planning Act. We get more in this report from Jamie Roger of ABS TV News.
Barbudans John Mussington and Jacqueline Frank have succeeded in a legal action to halt construction of the international airport being built on the sister isle. Queen's Counsel Leslie Thomas is representing the applicants in the matter. He claims that the legal action was brought after requests for information regarding the environmental impact assessment for the project fell on deaf ears. The attorney says after making a request under the Freedom of Information Act, the Department of Environment revealed various breaches had occurred in relation to the project.
For example, the wrong site had been cleared, clearing 10 to 12 acres of prehistoric ancient wells, which is really damaging to the environment in Barbuda. And when they realised that was the wrong site. They had to change sites.
He says an initial EIA report was incomplete as it failed to include a terminal building and access roads to the airport. The QC insists his clients have nothing against airport development, but want to ensure it's being constructed properly and poses no harm to the island.
The respondents, namely the Attorney General, the DCA and the Antigua-Barbuda Airport Authority, have an opportunity now to put an affidavit evidence. If they've got good evidence that they've complied with the Act, then we will withdraw our application. It's as simple as that.
He says the applicants are seeking simple answers of yes or no arising from the Physical Planning Act.
And still to come in Caribbean Newsline, the man who will become Trinidad and Tobago's top cop is not in favor of a state of emergency. Stay with us. There's more news after the break.
Starts from sunrise, a city filled with an island vibe, music, people, color, friendship, culture, and the warmest of smiles. Come enjoy the unique costumes, pulsating steel pans, exotic culture, exciting fetes, and unforgettable people. Discover Antigua's Carnival, the Caribbean's greatest summer festival, July 27th to August 8th, because the beach really is just the beginning.
A robot dance is an unusual element for the Tobago Heritage Festival, but this feature in the 2018 opening production helps to shape the story of 4 teenagers caught up with technology. On their journey to find the sibling of one of the teens, they each experience different areas of the island's cultural traditions.
Trinidad and Tobago's designated Commissioner of Police, Gary Griffith, says he's opposed to using a state of emergency as a crime-fighting tool. His position, which he expressed to TV6 shortly after Parliament voted to make him the country's next top cop, is in keeping with that of Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley. Griffith says there are other options available to the police force and the National Security Services, which he would rather explore. But he says the final decision is not entirely up to him.
Would not recommend a state of emergency as a crime-fighting tool. However, that is not the role and function of the police service to decide for a state of emergency. That is done by the government. As the Commissioner of Police, I certainly would not recommend a state of emergency to reduce crime.
His comment is in keeping with the Prime Minister's stance on the matter.
A state of emergency will not necessarily give us the safety and security that we're looking for. There'll be negative developments on the economy.
Mr. Griffith said a state of emergency is not required for policing, such as roadblocks and stop and search.
What can be used is similar to what is used in other countries, where you have a national security alert state, where based on a threat, you can escalate a color-coded scheme whereby all the arms of law enforcement can very well be aware of their role and function and know what is required based on the threat.
One cabinet member told TV6 News after the lower house approved Mr. Griffith to be the next top cop.
Government would provide policy, the government would provide resources, the Office of the Attorney General stands ready to amend laws as we can.
But Mr. Griffith will also need the support of all of those in the police service.
Most definitely, I would expect there to be concerns. People will fear change. This, what you're seeing, it is a first in Trinidad and Tobago, but worldwide, Jamaica, for example, I think they are their 5th Commissioner of Police who is a serving member of the Jamaican Defense Police Service.
He spoke with I-95.5 FM about his approach to criminal gangs.
I have no intention to negotiate with criminal elements. I have no intention to try to influence them verbally, to explain to them that what they're doing is against the law. I intend to fight fire with fire within the law. I intend to, it may seem as a bullying tactic, but it is the only way that sometimes when individuals feel that they're in full control, they feel that they own blocks, they own areas, and no one could actually tell them what to do.
An immigration amnesty has begun for people living and working illegally in the Cayman Islands. The Department of Immigration has announced the start of a month-long amnesty that will enable anyone living and working illegally in the British Overseas Territory to leave. Employers holding permits for people that they can no longer employ will also be able to cancel them without risk of prosecution. The amnesty started on Wednesday and will remain in effect until the end of the month. We get more in this report from Cayman 27.
Chief Immigration Officer Bruce Smith says the amnesty is part of government's continuing effort to aid in crime reduction, as well as reduce criminal activity. The department says there are 4 scenarios illegal foreign nationals can voluntarily leave Cayman without being prosecuted. Persons living here without permission or without a valid work permit, and workers not working for the employer named in their work permit. Immigration is also allowing employers to cancel work permits for employees they do not have work for, and employees who are on a valid work permit but their employers no longer have employment for them are also being allowed to cancel their permit.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, the Windies T20 captain says fielders set the tone for the side's win against Bangladesh in their first T20 encounter. Stay with us. Sport is next.
This hurricane tip comes to you compliments the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency and the Caribbean Media Corporation. Be prepared. When you are preparing for a hurricane, remember to help your family, neighbors, and community prepare also.
And fall, Brilliant Barbados is offering you hotel discounts of up to 40% off regular rates when you book through Expedia before October 31st, 2018. Discover our Dine Around program specials at participating restaurants across the island, starting from US $50 per person on 3-course meals. For further information and full details to book your Barbados holiday, visit brilliantbarbados.com.
Dominica's World Creole Music Festival in 2018, October 26, 27, 28 at the Windsor Park Stadium in the capital city, Roseau. 3 nights, over 8 genres, 40 years of independence, 1 location, Dominica, the 20th edition of Dominica's World Creole Music Festival. For more information, like our Facebook page, Dominica Festivals. Visit our website, www.dominicafestivals.com for all travel, accommodation, and ticketing details. My love, my home, my Dominica, building a resilient nation. See you there! Proudly sponsored by the Government of Dominica and Discover Dominica Authority.
Captain Carlos Brathwaite has hailed the West Indies' fielding effort in the opening T20 international against Bangladesh, saying it set the tone for the eventual 7-wicket victory under lights at Warner Park on Wednesday. Upton to bowl first, West Indies restricted the tourists to 143 for 9 of their allotted 20 overs, and when their target was revised to 91 from 11 overs following rain during the interval, they easily chased down the runs to win with 11 balls to spare.
Gusto that the boys went out there with, I guess it was best shown in the fielding effort. Really, the guys threw themselves around and we saved some runs. It was pretty even Stevens. We got some early wickets which really just put us just ahead, but we continue to feel well. We continue to keep the intensity up and the bowlers hit the mark every time they were called upon. So I think it was a very professional performance with the ball. Credit must go to Bangladesh for being in the position they were in, but sticking it all the way out and batting all 20 overs and even getting close to a respectable total after being 40-odd for 4. But I think our guys stuck to our guns, we stuck to our plans, we were very disciplined, and we executed the plans that we wanted very, very well. So I think from a bowling side of things, it was very, very professional, and the fielding only added to that professionalism.
West Indies found themselves in early trouble when openers Evan Lewis and Andre Fletcher perished in the second over with the score on 10 for 2. But man of the match Andre Russell showcased his explosive hitting skills, counting 3 4s and 3 6s in a 21-ball unbeaten 35 to revive the innings and take the Windies over the line. Showing no signs of the injury which kept him out of the last 2 ODIs last week, Russell tore into the Bangladesh bowling. First, he put on 42 of 22 deliveries for the 3rd wicket with Marlon Samuels, who got 26 from 13 balls. Then, Russell added a further 41 from 21 balls in an unbroken 4th wicket stand with Rovman Powell, who finished 15 not out, and ended the match with a giant 6 over long on of Bangladesh captain and left-arm spinner Shakib Al Hassan.
Russell getting promoted to number 3 and having an exceptional performance, finishing the game. And you know, I think we're not given a lot of credit enough times for the way we play our cricket and the professionalism we show. And the professionalism shown with the bat. Marlon's knock was fantastic after losing 2 early wickets. Russell came in and finished it, and Ravi at the end put the cherry on the cake. So, you know, a very professional performance where the guys couldn't ask for anything more, just for us to replicate it come the games in Florida.
And those games in Florida that Brathwaite mentioned, there are the last 2 matches of the series, which will be a doubleheader at the Central Broward Regional Park Stadium this weekend. Let's now take a look at the highlights of Wednesday's game.
So they've got a pretty decent lineup. Yeah. First delivery, stumped. Dinesh Ramdan gets into the act. What a start this is turning out to be for Ashley Nurse. Nice shot. He'll find the gap. Nice shot. Whip and pace on the ball.
Now, 3rd man. Now, it is held. That's gone. That might be going for 6. It is. Andre Russell is a spectator underneath it.
Well, that's hit in the middle, over long off.
Bangladesh got to 143 for 9. Long rain delay has now revised the target and the playing conditions. So 91 is the target to get there, and 11 overs. Fletcher! Oh, he loves to give it some Humpty early doors. Straight out from Lewis, who wants it? Taken. There it is! Number 2. Give it a heave and give it some. It's gone all the way.
This time. Going, gone.
6 of them. Rovman Powell into the act. Victory for the defending world champions, the Windies.
And just to make a quick correction here, that game was not on Wednesday, it was on Tuesday. Left-arm fast bowler Mohammad Irfan has been named to replace fellow Pakistani Junaid Khan in the Barbados Tridents for the Caribbean Premier League, which bowls off next month. Irfan has taken 83 wickets from 60 one-day internationals and 15 wickets in T20 internationals. That's 20 T20 internationals. He has claimed 94 wickets in 82 appearances in T20s overall. Trident's head coach Robin Singh believes the experienced campaigner will be a boost to the franchise's attack. Irfan will join a squad which already boasts international players like Martin Guptill, former Australian captain Steve Smith, and South Africa batting star Hashim Amla. This year, Tridents will be led by West Indies Test captain Jason Holder and includes veteran Dwayne Smith and Test stars Roston Chase and Shea Hope. Tridents opened their season against Guyana Amazon Warriors on August 12th in Providence before taking on St. Lucia Stars on August 17th at the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground in Grosile. They host 5 matches at the historic Kensington Oval in Bridgetown between August 25th and September 2nd. Shane Brathwaite delivered the first gold medal for Barbados at the 2018 Central American and Caribbean Games, that's the CAC Games, on Tuesday night. He took the 110-meter hurdles in Colombia in a stunning season's best time of 13.38, that's 38 seconds. Trinidad and Tobago also has something to shout about when Reuben Walters won the silver medal in 13.57 seconds. The man who had the fastest qualifying time of 13.52 seconds heading into the final, Roger Contreras of Cuba, had to settle for bronze with a time of 13.58 seconds. And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Her passion for what she believes is unmatched.
I wanted to get to the point where you can shake me off that perfect piece.
She's a book-off radio host, philanthropist, and motivational speaker.
And I said, I'm going to write you a check for $10,000, which I'm not.
Spirit, soul, and body.
To get them some help through the transition.
I'm Karita D, and you're listening to Girlfriend Get a Life.
Dominica's World Creole Music Festival in 2018, October 26, 27, 28 at the Windsor Park Stadium in the capital city, Roseau.
3 nights, over 8 genres.
40 years of independence, 1 location, Dominica. The 20th edition of Dominica's World Creole Music Festival. For more information, like our Facebook page, Dominica Festivals. Visit our website, www.dominicafestivals.com for all travel, accommodation, and ticketing details.
My love,
my home, my Dominica. Building a resilient nation.
See you there.
Proudly sponsored by the Government of Dominica and Discover Dominica Authority.
Again, the major developments of this day. 2 parishes in Grenada declared disaster zones following heavy rains. The capital, St. George's, and the parish of St. David's. And in sport, West Indies T20 captain Carlos Brathwaite hails his side's fielding effort in the opening T20 International against Bangladesh, saying it set the tone for the eventual 7-wicket victory. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, subscribe to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but from all of us, do have yourselves a pleasant evening.